Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good to be here once again this year. First of all, I just want to acknowledge something that Nathan Roberts said a little bit earlier, working in the science side of DNR. I thought we had eliminated all science in the DNR, or when you look at the political commercials. You don't have to say anything. I do want to acknowledge some of the work that the department has done, in particular in regards to bobcats, and Nathan's done a lot of work on that. We had a really difficult time being able to get the tag numbers up here in Wisconsin. As many of you know, you've seen the bobcat numbers out there for a long time, and they've really climbed, and again, the number of tags were not increased commensurately, and now that has happened here in the last year or two, and part of that is the work that the department's done in showing that that population is there and that we can harvest more bobcats. So I really appreciate the work that's been done in regards to that, and so do a lot of sportsmen here throughout Wisconsin. Anyhow, in regards to wolves, not here to on behalf of Congressman Duffy, but I would just comment in regards to the bill that he authored and passed. A good bill, moves on to the Senate at this point. You know, I think you guys have covered it. It's at the end of the session here, doubtful that the Senate will take it up. But I really would urge all of you, in particular, to contact Senator Baldwin. Senator Johnson's very much been in our court throughout this whole process to delist wolves. Senator Baldwin came on board after the election in 2016, and I believe she earned some votes this election as a result of her position in support of delisting the wolf. And it is going to take someone like her in order to be able to get this through the Senate, because I believe it is a vote that requires cloture. And cloture is when you have to get 60 senators to agree to take the bill up before the full Senate, part of their arcane rules in the United States Senate. So it's going to take 60 votes, which means it's going to take a bipartisan effort in order to make that happen. And if we're going to get this done, we really need our Great Lakes senators. You think about the senators over in Minnesota, Michigan, and of course here in Wisconsin, in order to get this done. And when you look at the delisting that happened out west, Montana, Idaho, I believe that was Washington also, wasn't it? Wyoming. And the person who got that done back in, what was that, 2010, 2011, was Senator Tester from Montana. And Senator Tester made it very clear to his leadership on the Democrat side, you got to get this done, or you're going to jeopardize my election here coming up in 2012. He was elected here in 2018, but he had an election in 2012 also. And it's going to take a senator like Senator Baldwin going to leadership and saying, hey, you've got to get this done. This needs to be a priority. And so I urge all of you to make as many contacts as possible to Senator Baldwin's office and say, hey, it's time that you use some of your political capital. When we're elected, we all have a bank of political capital, and we decide how we're going to use it. And it's time for her to use some of that. And I really urge all of you to follow through on that. There are a few people that are saying that because Congressman Duffy put this as the lower 48 states, that it will make it a little bit more challenging, and that may be true, but I think we need to continue to bang the drum here if we're going to be able to achieve this. I'd comment about, Scott was just talking about how the line dipped a little bit, and that, I think it was the first chart that we looked at there, in terms of the number of wolves here in Wisconsin. I would just, in a practical sense, I would just comment, there's a reason why that line dipped, and I think most of you know why that is. Sportsmen take care of business out in the field. They know when things are out of kilter. And while none of us around the room here, around the table, are going to advocate for that, I think we know why that line dipped. And it's terribly unfortunate when we have judges and other lawmakers that do not understand that practical part of what sportsmen do for this country. Really unfortunate. Our friends here that came and testified good to have them here, and they said, you know, maybe we have some common ground. And I heard some common ground in testimony here today. And that is moving wolves throughout the territory that we talked about. They were far down in St. Louis. So I have a standing offer out there. If we can get that done, I'd be happy when I make my, I live up in Minocqua. I would be happy to take wolves down to Madison. I make a weekly trip down to Madison to the legislature. I'd be happy to take wolves to the southern part of the state anytime if people have cages, whatever, that we can take them down. I'd be happy to get wolves in their full range here in Wisconsin, including on the outskirts of Madison and Milwaukee, so they could experience what we do here in northern Wisconsin. I'd be happy to do that. Mr. Chairman, I entertain any questions if you're so.
Do you have any questions for the senator? Yes, Steve.
One question is, what happened to that bill last year to not allow any money from the state to be used as law enforcement?
Yeah, this is a bill that we were contemplating. We ultimately pulled back from it. Some people asked us, some sporting groups asked us to pull back on that as we go into future delisting efforts.